Welcome to the Savvy Ventures Show, connecting you with noteworthy industry changemakers, movers, shakers, and innovators from around the world. From CEOs, executives, and other titans of industry to entrepreneurs, inventors, professional athletes, authors, chefs, and other thought leaders. You'll hear from power players across industries, here to inform, enlighten, and entertain. All of this, plus travel and shopping, hot picks, and so much more. And now, here's your host, Merilee Kern.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Savvy Ventures, where we connect with high-powered experts across all categories, here to share their insights and inspirations. This show highlights remarkable people and businesses throughout America and beyond, with a deeper dive into the brilliant minds behind the brands. Plus, for Savvy Shopping, we also showcase hot gifts and gets, and for those out there with wanderlust, we spotlight trending travel and dreamy destinations perfect for those itineraries ahead. I'm marketplace trends expert Merilee Kern, and today's show is another great one. We're connecting with a former NFL wide receiver who today is an accomplished Emmy Award-winning philanthropist, adventurer, entrepreneur, and motivational speaker. So it's another great show on deck today, so let's get to it. With us now is Mark Pattison, a former NFL wide receiver turned accomplished Emmy Award-winning adventurer, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and motivational speaker. His background encompasses a diverse range of experiences, from his successful professional football career to conquering all 7 summits, including the perilous Mount Everest. His story is one of setting and achieving ambitious goals, demonstrating resilience in the face of adversity, and giving back to the community. So Mark is here to share a bit about the importance of setting goals and persevering to attain them. Hey, Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure if it's me you're talking about, but love to be here. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, that really is just an incredible bio, and everything you've accomplished is remarkable. So we're going to talk about all that. But I first want to get to, before we dig into your own highly accomplished work, since you're actually based in Idaho, I wanted to ask you about the upcoming 20th annual Idaho All-State Game, which brings together Idaho's elite youth football players from across the state, with athlete nominations underway right now, as I understand it. So what do you think makes that kind, or this specific youth sports initiative, so important and impactful for the kids and the communities that they live in?
Well, I think it's always been impactful. You know, I grew up in the great state of Washington, Seattle, and I played at a big high school there. And at the end, you know, it had always been my goal in terms of goal setting, starting way back when, that someday I had to get to play in that game. It was either played in Spokane or in Seattle every other year. And I was very fortunate to be picked to play in that, you know, down the road. And so I have my own experiences with that. So not only are you getting picked to play, and that was always a goal of mine, so I achieved that, but now you're going up against all the other guys that you're paying attention to that are kind of the big, you know, star players of those particular communities, and then the community gets around you for that too, especially with the game. But it's really the week leading up to that and all the different festivities that I remember we played over in Spokane, and just, you know, the city leaders, they came out, and again, we got to know. And then I ended up going to the University of Washington. And so there's, I think, 6 or 7 of us who got scholarships that year to go to the UW, you know, some were on my team on the West and some were on the East. And so that's what these guys are going to find out when they come and they play in this all-state game here in Idaho, which I live in. You know, it's just a wonderful way to bridge communities, to goal set, and measure yourself against the best.
Yeah, amazing. And it's so cool that you do have that personal experience. And really, since you're just kind of known for advocating for goal setting and for perseverance, do you think this kind of event has positive implications for the lives of these kids, even off the field in their everyday lives?
I think it can be a yes, and it can be a no. I mean, I can remember specifically around some people, and a lot of it goes back to what's going on at the home and how motivated that particular person is. Just because there's indicators that you're going to go on and that you're an all-star player doesn't guarantee you anything in life. But what it does is start to give you the foundational pieces of what success means. You know, for me, I really had never lifted a weight back in those days. It was kind of in the era where you just kind of showed up and played, which I did. And when I got to the University of Washington, it was just a whole new ball game. I was completely lost. And I really had to understand and learn that pyramid of success, of what it took to really earn things and not just things given to me. I was naturally born with athletic talent. A lot of these people in Idaho and the game that we're talking about are going to be born with a lot of natural talent. But what you do with that natural talent to really, harness that, go in, get in the weight room, don't flunk out of school, don't get involved in drugs, do the right thing, get involved in charities, all these things that we all have the opportunity to do, but some kids just don't. They just don't have their head, and they'd rather go party and do things they shouldn't be doing. And that, for a lot of those guys, not a lot, but there was a percentage of those guys that were on that all-state team way back in my day, that they just petered out and they didn't make it because they didn't pay attention and do the things that they should have been doing.
Yeah, so that's an important point, just kind of to temper that expectation that it's not just a given that you've accomplished this one amazing thing, and then, life's just sort of gonna unfold in this fortuitous way, that there's still such an incredible amount of work and dedication and hustling and studying and discipline and all of that good stuff involved. So yeah, that's an important point to make. And again, you're also a philanthropist, as I mentioned. So I'm sure you can just appreciate how cool it is that this particular event has raised over $250,000 since its inception for the state's foster care system. So it's just a wonderful way that it's giving back to the community there as well.
I love that. And, I can't even imagine, because, I grew up in a very stable environment in Seattle. My mom and dad were together till kind of the end. My dad passed away 10 years ago. My mom's still alive, but one of the parents was always at the game. And now you're talking about kids who are kind of bouncing from home to home and just looking for that love. And at the end of the day, so much of that confidence and that determination, a lot of those things come from what starts in those early years, that fundamental kind of really roots, to really ground a player to where they go, so they're not out doing things they shouldn't be doing. And we all need mentors. I need mentors. I'm 61 years old today, and it seems like yesterday I was playing in that all-state game, but I remember looking up to the guys in college, and I went to all the University of Washington football games. And for here in Idaho, it might be looking up to some of these star players at Boise State. And it's the same thing. And then once I started getting into that and I was starting to play a lot, then I was looking at my mentors, which were in the NFL. And then I got there, right? And then once I started to merge and transition out of the NFL, then I got involved in business. And so who were my mentors, right? Success does leave clues. And it's so important that so many of these kids really look to those older people. And those other people also invest back into, this foster program and really be there to help these kids, make it to the next level.
I love that idea that you just said, that success does leave clues. That's really a cool concept. And I also like that you made that parallel about mentors, because it is really cool, this particular initiative, that at the end of the day, it's kids helping kids, that it's these youth football athletes that not only are, creating the circumstance to raise these funds, but they themselves are serving as mentors, and, the kids can aspire to be these elite level athletes. So I'm really glad you made that point. And all right, let's talk about your own philanthropic efforts to raise funds for charitable causes that you're aligned with, and also about the Idaho-based summit that you host as well. So tell us a bit about all of that.
Yeah, so I guess it really starts where, there's a couple different layers to this, but I was invited to climb Kilimanjaro down in Tanzania, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And the guy that put this thing together, his name is Chris Long. And Chris Long is the son of Howie Long that's on TV every week. He was actually a teammate of mine way back in the day for the Raiders. And what he wanted to do at the time, he was still playing in the NFL, but he had been down to Africa and seen this shortage of water. And so down there, they have a saying called "water is life." And you think about it, it's so true. We're seeing this right now play out in Gaza, right, where they've shut off the water. And so it's so important. And so what he wanted to do is bring exposure to raising funds to the people of the Maasai tribe. It is now expanded out to East Africa, where he'd bring down former NFL players and military veterans to help, again, raise funds. And then we'd go into these different tribes, and we'd actually build a well and so that they could actually walk. And so they wouldn't send these young girls down who are 15 years old with a bucket on their head and get attacked by lions and get raped and other awful things, right? And so he's done this now very successful, but it really opened my eyes in terms of really not only giving back, because I raised a bunch of money to go do that, but also interact with the people to really understand and feel their pain and what they're talking about. So then that kind of evolved to my own daughter, Emilia, has epilepsy. And so I wanted to kind of follow in the footsteps of Chris, of raising money around that and really understanding of getting involved to trying to help my daughter overcome epilepsy and the things that she was dealing with, which I realized was a much bigger problem that was out there. And so I started this thing called Emilia's Everest. My own personal journey was to climb the 7 summits, to become the first NFL player to ever do that. And so I wanted to kind of redirect that spotlight that was coming on me from the NFL towards seeing what I could do to leverage that in terms of raising money towards this cause. So I partnered up with an organization here in Sun Valley, Idaho, called Higher Ground. And the really cool thing about that is not only is it about raising money, but it's also about empowering others. So you go back to your foster, program that you're talking about in Idaho, that this all-state game also, it should be about 2 things, not about just, raising money, but also I think, like you said, having these high school kids come in and also mentor and be around, and both sides of the party get benefit. The people that we're trying to empower to go out and do things that say, hey, I can do this. I'm not just somebody with a disability, but also trying to bring the medicine and the science behind it to try to fix that. So, I'm very blessed now that I have now climbed all 7 summits and I achieved that goal. But also my daughter, Emilia, after having epilepsy, she just turned 25, and probably 22 of those years she had epilepsy, daily seizures. But having her and putting her up on stage and having her speak and having that empowerment where she felt like she was somebody and she didn't feel shameful was just so incredible to see. And so continuing to raise funds for that organization. And it's been just an amazing experience to be part of that.
And so incredible for you to be able to bridge what's going on in your professional life to be so profoundly impactful for something going on in your personal life. I mean, that just has to be hugely gratifying. And then, of course, you relate to it on that personal level, all of these other families, that are benefiting from that great work. And, I mean, you're obviously, just such a high achiever, but on your path, the 7 summits that, you climbed, what are even your plight to the NFL, all of your professional pursuits, what are some of the more challenging, episodes, and sort of how did you overcome those?
Well, I've had a lot of, I think a lot of people look at me in my situation as kind of the shiny object because they're only seeing the highlights, right? The NFL. But going back to when I was in college, when I first got there, I was deeply lost in the program, and I had an inflection point where was I going to, really button down and move out of the fraternity and move back to my parents' house and put in the time and the work and the effort to do the things I needed to do to put myself in a position to succeed. I went through, it was like 1.5 to 2 years of very dark times of just like, is this ever going to happen? And then trying to make it in the NFL. At the end of the day, I got 5 years in, but I was cut and I was traded, and it was all the things that you go through in the NFL. And then when you come out of the NFL, okay, now what? Right? I was lost. Now what are you going to do? And so it took me a couple of years to kind of figure that out. And then I got on this path, and then now we get into the mountain climbing down the road. There's business, and then I go through a divorce kind of in the middle of this whole thing. And that was awful because I had 2 wonderful girls that, I was used to be around every single day. And now, breaking that family union apart was awful. And that's a lot of what got me into I need a massive goal to pull me out to go climb something and make it so massive that it was going to rechange my thought pattern and rechange my focus and my energy towards something I could really look forward to versus sinking in this personal mess I was in. It was another dark moment, but through being in nature and then moving to Sun Valley, Idaho, and being amongst, the trees and the birds chirping and the butterflies coming by, it just calmed my mind and calmed everything else. And then I started going through these mountains, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, I was on Denali, which is up in Alaska, North America's highest mountain. And I ran into -8 degree weather. I was stuck in this thing for a week in a tent. It was awful, and like, what are you going to, so I had to come back and redo that, again the next year, going through adversity, fighting through it. Do you really want to go and haul 137 pounds on your back up this mountain? No, but I got to do it to achieve this goal. And then I was set to go off to Mount Everest, in 2020. And then this little thing called COVID, landed on the planet and shut down everything. And so after all that training, literally, I packed up my bags. I'd driven to California. I was going to see my daughter before I flew to Kathmandu in Nepal. And then the whole world shuts down. I'm like, what? I just trained. It'd be like going to the Olympics, and now we're calling off the Olympics. So like, you got to be kidding. So I had to reset my mind around that. And then in 2021, I got that down, and I got that done. And the great thing is that is taught me so much about goal setting. And later that year, I flew down to Ecuador and I climbed a mountain called Copious. And then last year, I went up to I was in France. I climbed a mountain called Mont Blanc out of Chamonix. And this year, I just got up the Matterhorn. And I've done a bunch of other mountains. So it's just so key, that understanding that you go through peaks and valleys, and that you got to fight your way out of it, and you don't give up, and there is light on the other side.
And that's sort of just the epitome of turning pain into purpose. So to know that was sort of, the benchmark that led you to accomplish all these incredible things. And speaking of accomplishing incredible things, I understand in 2022, you received an Emmy Award. So tell us about the project that led to that incredible honor.
Well, it's amazing. I'll show you my Emmy Award right here.
Hey.
Right? So, I mean, crazy. And I didn't even know, well, it was really interesting. So the NFL, I got a call in. So this is sort of the blessing of COVID in 2021 that got pushed out to 2020 to 2021. And in January of 2021, I get a call from the NFL, and they go, hey, we're looking to do a story on NFL 360. And we'd love to fly over to Sun Valley and find out more about this epic climb you're going to have up Mount Everest. I said, great. So they flew over. And so the more they dug in the story, the more that they discovered that there was this whole other layer around my daughter and around fundraising and things that I had gone through. And so the movie went from, originally it was supposed to be 3 to 5 minutes, and it was just going to be a quick little blurb, to a full 30-minute set, which was the max that they go on that. And, the interesting thing about it was that they started to craft this story. They saw kind of a storyline, but then I go off to Everest for 2 months, and I'm up there, and they were shut down from going over to Everest because COVID had another outbreak in 2021. And, next thing I know, when I come back, I get this call. I'd done Mount Everest, and so that they didn't know if I was going to live or die or how that was all going to play out. So the movie was always kind of in jeopardy. And then I get a call in 2022, and they go, hey, great news. You got nominated for Best Cinematography and nominated for Best Picture. I'm like, what? For what? And they go, there's the film that we did, Searching for the Summit. I go, you got to be kidding. And the cool thing about that is I'm not a camera guy, and I did most of the filming up on Mount Everest. And so they had equipped me with different GoPros. So it was just me shooting these different things. And so then I get an invite to the Emmys in September of 2022. And I'm sitting there. They only had one seat for me. It was right in the front, and it was great. And they went through, and I couldn't believe it when they called my name. And I got the Emmy for Best Picture. Did not win for Best Cinematography, but it was just like, this is impossible. But it really told me about when you do things for the right reason. Again, you go back. I just did it to get me out of a really bad place I was in personally. And then we turned that into a fundraising opportunity for my daughter. And then I achieved my own goal of becoming the first NFL player to climb the 7 summits. And then the NFL magically just showed up. They wanted this film. It turned out to be the best one. And so I'm sitting here with the Emmy today, which I would have never thought if I hadn't gone through all these different things that I had gone through in my life.
Yeah. And so vindicating and validating, as you say, it's kind of like when you're on the right path, the universe just kind of opens up and delivers. It's not like the path of resistance, so to speak, and probably exceeded what you expected to come out of it, with those awards and everything. So today, now, in addition to being a podcast host, a motivational speaker, you're also Senior Vice President of Sports Business Development at Sports Illustrated. So just generally speaking, do you have any one kind of best piece of advice? Plus, I know you have a philosophy called a pyramid of success or a platform. So tell us a little bit about that and how that's helped you.
Yeah, so I actually helped start and found this company, a technology company, 6 years ago. And then in that journey, we ended up taking over Sports Illustrated 3.5 years ago. Okay. And so I had gone to our CEO at the time and said, I want to start this coverage, this certain way, this coverage of teams, within the NFL and college football and NBA and things like that. And I looked at Sports Illustrated and what they were doing. And although they were an iconic brand, being around for 56 years, they were a financial sinking ship. And so I looked at them and I said, I'm going to do everything opposite over here in terms of, local team coverage on the Cowboys and the Raiders and all these other teams. And so I basically invented something that company now calls the playbook, which is a way to produce content, which is very sticky within Google. The company has now gone from number 17 in the sinking ship to number 2. We were just behind ESPN. We have made this vertical that I started into the most successful team site coverage of all time. And it's because I thought outside the box. At the time, kind of like going back to my freshman year in college when I told you I was lost. I didn't know that, someday I would become a Hall of Fame player for the University of Washington because I was so lost. But I knew that if I followed this pyramid of success, this 25 different blocks that John Wooden had formed, the old UCLA coach, and I committed to, getting bigger, faster, stronger, doing well in the classroom, doing all these different things, which took me about 1.5 years to figure out. But now I was on this path. There was no certainty that this thing was going to work. But I had to follow this certain thing. And with Sports Illustrated, I said, I'm going to do everything opposite from what they're doing, what all the newspapers are doing, what these magazines are doing, which are going upside down. And I did that without any certainty, but we just kept chipping. And, 2-3 years later, we became this massively successful business unit for the company. And so it's just interesting when people think outside the box. You think about, for 60 years or whatever, there were taxis. And some guy said, I'm going to start this thing called Uber, right? Like, that's novel, right? There's always been hotels, right? Motels. And so somebody says, I'm going to start this thing called Airbnb. Why can't the guy down the street rent out his house? He can. Turns into $1 billion business. And we did this kind of the same thing over here with, like, sometimes you have to go against the grain because what's working isn't, and you need to do something different to have success.
Yeah, I love it. And it just really underscores the importance and value of innovation, which today it's all about innovation, but bucking convention and risk taking and all the things that you kind of hear in theory, what you've done just sort of exemplifies that. You're like, well, I'm going to take this model and just completely flip it on its head. So really cool that you've had great success and clearly just generally overcoming adversity and realizing seemingly impossible goals is definitely something you've mastered. So I appreciate you coming on the show to share a bit about it with us today.
Thank you so much. I mean, you're right. It is about mindset, and you need to train your mind to think like that and to think sometimes you have to go against the grain. But, talking to you, talking about Idaho youth football, being involved like they are with giving back to the foster communities, there's nothing better. And anything I can do to help in that cause, I'm all in.
Yeah, well, your giving spirit, I'm sure is just part of your personal brand. So, I wish you continued success. And for everybody listening, to learn more about Mark and keep up with him and his projects, just visit markpattisonnfl.com. Okay, everyone, stick around because after this quick break, we're talking travel. So don't go away.
What is going on, Merilee? It is Richard Blaze from assorted different food shows that hopefully you've seen, including, I hope, Next Level Chef. You are known to be incredibly savvy, especially with wining, dining, and travel, and sharing those experiences with others. And Merilee, what a amazing thing that you get to inspire so many people, including myself today. Stay hungry, as in driven, like you obviously are. Merilee, you got some friends that love you so much. Can't wait to see you soon.
Over 50 million in prizes paid, more than 4 million pounds lost.
I'm global health and fitness expert Jillian Michaels, and I love Healthy Wager. It's a great way to lose weight by motivating you with big cash prizes. Get paid in real cash up to $10,000. Diets alone don't keep most people motivated, but with Healthy Wager participants, they often lose 30, 50, 100 pounds or more. Healthy Wager is the ultimate solution.
Oh yeah? I know every judge and lawyer. Oh yeah? No justice, no peace!
You two are like two immature cartoon characters.
I'm sanctioning you for $15,000.
I have a right to see my son.
This is all about a child, a poor boy born into a battle.
This is not justice! No justice, no peace!
How much money is Mr. K and Mr. Gee paying you and your fellow judges to keep this woman away from her child?
Three Corners of Deception movie is now available on Prime Video.
Welcome back to the Savvy Ventures Show with Merilee Kern.
Hello and welcome back to Savvy Ventures, where we not only chat with power player experts, legendary chefs, and celebrities, but we also showcase fabulous travel destinations, and today is no different. So buckle up and away we go. For fabulous international travel, head to Casa Velas, a luxury all-inclusive boutique hotel for adults in Puerto Vallarta. Reminiscent of a Spanish hacienda, the hotel features 80 spacious suites, some with private pools and jacuzzis, with each designed to celebrate the spirit of Mexico and the beauty of the natural surroundings. Casa Velas's deluxe all-inclusive concept features unlimited dining in a la carte restaurants, gourmet-themed dinners, a selection of domestic and imported spirits to include a grand assortment of fine wines and more. Its on-site Emiliano restaurant serves creative Mexican and international gourmet cuisine in a casually elegant ambiance. As part of the all-inclusive plan, guests also enjoy full access to Hotel Velas Vallarta's La Riviera Oceanfront Restaurant and Andrea Restaurant. For daytime dining, its Aqua Bar by the main swimming pool features a menu of delicious lunch and snack items along with refreshing beverages. Casa Velas's guests also have beach access at Tao Beach Club, which offers a casual, relaxed atmosphere overlooking the ocean, replete with a jacuzzi, pool, delectable cuisine, and an expansive event space. For some R&R, the resort's spa encompasses plush treatment rooms, a hydrotherapy area, Garden View Fitness Center equipped with state-of-the-art exercise equipment, and a beauty salon. Located in the heart of Marina Vallarta and bordered by one of the most beautiful 18-hole golf courses in the area, Casa Velas offers guests an ambiance of finesse replete with premium details and perfect proximity. In fact, the hotel is just a 5-minute drive from Puerto Vallarta's International Airport and only 10 minutes from historic downtown Puerto Vallarta. Learn more about this exceptional property at hotelcasavelas.com. To relax, explore, and enjoy, consider Yellowbird House, a 9-bedroom treasure in the beautiful Bahamian island of Eleuthera. This lush 2.3-acre ocean view property is nestled between a 20-acre pond and a beautiful private pink sand beach. With a main house boasting 8,400 square feet, there are 4 en-suite bedrooms plus a separate master suite with private entrance. The chef-inspired kitchen features a custom rock wall, large island, gas range, double oven, and a wide array of cooking tools. Its spacious living room with bar, which has soaring 28-foot ceilings, is a cozy communal space perfect for family game night, conversations, or a sunset cocktail that can also be viewed from the large attached pergola overlooking the heated infinity pool and private beach. The detached 2,200 square foot guest casita also overlooks the pool and has a large living space and eat-in kitchen. It has 3 en-suite bedrooms as well as an additional bunk room with top twin bunks and bottom full and double bunks, as well as a full bathroom. Rounding out the incredible lot is a large covered cabana, affectionately known as the office, that faces the private beach. It also showcases the spectacular sunsets from the pond side of the property. Yellowbird comes fully staffed with a cook for breakfast and lunch, housekeeper, and concierge services. While guests pay for their own provisions, grocery stocking is available at no charge. Airport pickup and drop-off is also included with each stay. Learn more and book your visit at eleutherovacationrentals.net. Situated in the heart of the bustling Magic City, Miami Marriott Biscayne Bay has graced the iconic skyline of this world-renowned destination for over 40 years. The centrally located property boasts breathtaking views of neighboring South Beach, Brickell, the Port of Miami, and the subtropical beauty of Biscayne Bay and the Atlantic Ocean. Part of Marriott Hotels, Miami Marriott Biscayne Bay recently completed a full multi-million-dollar renovation project that introduced refreshed rooms and elevated amenities. Standing 31 stories tall, the property has undergone an extensive refresh, resulting in 607 modernized guest rooms and suites with private balconies and sweeping views, the addition of the Market Convenience Shop, a fully remodeled 18,000 square foot rooftop and pool deck, and the newly launched elevated dining experience, Gold Coast Kitchen and Cocktails. Located on the lower level alongside the waterfront, this dining and imbibing destination offers a curated experience featuring premium spirits and specialized coastal cuisine. Also, as part of the extensive renovation, Miami Marriott Biscayne Bay now offers guests access to downtown Miami's first M Club, a brand signature at Marriott hotel properties globally. The exclusive lounge is an ideal place to retreat, recharge, and refocus every day at any time. With panoramic views, the space serves complimentary refreshments, breakfast buffet, light bites, and hors d'oeuvres in the evening, as well as private workspaces and dining areas. The hotel is within proximity to Broadway performances, world-class museums, art galleries, and an abundance of shopping and dining options. In addition to serving guests from around the world, Miami Marriott Biscayne Bay is also uniquely positioned to welcome conferences, business meetings, weddings, and other special events with over 20,000 square feet of rental space available for accommodating a wide range of experiences. Check it out online and book your stay at Marriott.com. All right, everyone, that's it for this episode of Savvy Ventures. If you missed any part of today's show or just want to listen to any part of it again, just go to savvyventures.tv. You can also connect with me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at Merilee Kern. Until next time, remember that everything begins with an idea.
Thank you for listening to the Savvy Venture Show with Merilee Kern, connecting you with noteworthy industry changemakers, movers, shakers, and innovators from around the world. Plus, travel and shopping hot picks and so much more. Follow us on social at Merilee Kern.